Hello everyone, thanks for watching. My name is Dave, and this is 10 reasons why Miles Morales should not be the next Spider-Man to appear on the big screen. You've probably all have heard about the deal between Marvel and Sony and how they're going to basically share Spider-Man, and that Spider-Man will be able to now be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With all that happening, there's been a big buzz about what they're going to do with Spider-Man. We all have heard that it's going to be completely new Spider-Man. It's not going to be following the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield. They're going to cast a new person to play him. And a lot of people are wondering what's going to be different this time, other than the fact that he's going to be now incorporated in the Marvel Universe, I guess. One of the big rumors circulating is that he could possibly be Miles Morales. Now, Miles Morales is a fairly new character in the comic books. He was introduced in the Ultimate Spider-Man books, where they had a story where Peter Parker was actually killed, and Miles Morales gained similar powers to Peter Parker and ended up taking over for him as Spider-Man. A lot of people like this idea. I submit that it's not a good idea, and here are 10 reasons why. So, reason number one is that fans finally want Peter Parker in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially fans of the comic book universe. The fact that Sony and Marvel are going to cooperate on making these Spider-Man movies is a dream come true for the fans, but everyone has been waiting for Spider-Man, Peter Parker, to be put into this universe, not this brand new Miles Morales kid. Nothing against Miles Morales, he's a cool character and all, but he doesn't really have a history like Peter Parker does in the comics. He doesn't have relationships with the Avengers and all the Marvel characters like Peter Parker does. So it's not really a big payoff for fans to see Miles Morales teaming up with the Avengers. But Peter Parker, it's huge. It would be a huge fan payoff to see Peter Parker quipping back and forth with Iron Man, or to see him bonding with Captain America. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is that Miles Morales' origin hinges on there being a Peter Parker. Now, Peter Parker, we all know his story, that he was motivated by, the death of his Uncle Ben. But Miles Morales doesn't have any kind of independent story like that. His story is completely tied in with Spider-Man, and his total inspiration for becoming Spider-Man is Peter Parker and the death of Peter Parker. Some people are suggesting putting Peter Parker in the Civil War movie and having him die at the end of that movie, which would then serve as the jumping point for Miles Morales, but that would be forced, and just throwing Peter Parker into one movie like that and just killing him off would be a discredit to his character, especially when it's not even his movie and he's only going to be a secondary character that probably doesn't get a lot of screen time. Probably shouldn't get a lot of screen time, because a lot of the Captain America fans would be upset if Spider-Man all of a sudden took over the movie. And if you just neglect that part of Miles Morales' history and make up a new one, then you're basically just making him into a pseudo Peter Parker. So that's reason number two. Reason number three is that Miles is just a little bit too young. I think currently he's supposed to be a 13-year-old in the comics. And he started as like an 11 or 12-year-old. He was in grade school. He wasn't past the 6th grade. For them to throw this little kid in and be the main vehicle for the stories wouldn't work super well in the movies. There's the option, and this is probably what everyone is assuming, is that you would just make him a little older, which I guess you could do, but that would also just be kind of Peter Parkerizing Miles Morales. And that's one of the most interesting things about this character, is that he is like a little kid who is terrified at the idea of using his powers to go out and fight crime and having to face the reality of what a superhero really would be and how dangerous that would be for a young kid. Alright, so that's number three. Reason number four is that Miles has really not much of a history to pull from to make movies. There's not a lot of storyline, whereas Peter Parker Spider-Man has plenty of stories, plenty of history, plenty of villains, and to just take all of his history and just like give it to Miles Morales would also be kind of a cheat, and fans would not be happy about that. Along with not having the history, he also doesn't have the villain. He basically just inherits all of Peter Parker's rogues gallery just because he wears the same costume and goes by the same name. But I would have no interest in seeing Miles Morales go up against Venom, where Venom, to make him a Miles Morales villain in the movies, it wouldn't have the same weight to it, and I really wouldn't care to see that. And the same goes with most of Spider-Man's villains. I mean, who cares about Dr. Octopus against Miles Morales? Reason number six is Civil War. Peter Parker plays a huge role in the Civil War story in the comic books, and putting Miles Morales in Civil War, again, there's not really a payoff for that. Okay, that's reason number six. Reason number seven is that nobody really knows who Miles Morales is. Even comic book fans aren't familiar with every character there is. But with Spider-Man, everybody knows who Spider-Man is. I mean, it'd probably be confusing to an audience to be like, wait, Miles Morales? Like, is this a Spider-Man movie? What is this? They would have to commit all over again to a new character. We'd have to get an origin story for him. And we all know that we're kind of tired of Spider-Man origin stories. It's too much. Reason number 8 is that if they do this, if they just put Miles Morales as the Spider-Man of the MCU, could mean the end of Peter Parker in the comic book. You see, what happens a lot with these movies is as they become popular, they will adjust the books to match what people are familiar with in the movies, so that when they do get new readers that are familiar with the movies, they don't have to take a huge leap and get used to the new comic book version. So that, with that said, if Miles Morales were to be a big hit in the movies, he would no longer just be an ultimate character. They would probably fold him into the regular Marvel universe as well. Would either mean the end of Peter Parker as Spider-Man in the regular comic, or that he would be put on the back burner or something like that. The comics would then go full force with Miles Morales and get rid of Peter Parker. Reason number 9 is for longevity. If you just put Miles Morales in now, after however many movies he's in, there wouldn't really be anywhere else to go from there but to reboot it again, or to somehow introduce Peter Parker as the second Spider-Man in the MCU. I don't know. It would be weird. But if they do Peter Parker first, they can pass the torch on to Miles Morales, so that now we can transition nice and easy into Miles Morales, who has been introduced and who has been accepted by the wider audience now to become the new Spider-Man. And it's all continuing from the original story. And reason number 10 is that Miles can be Spider-Boy. Just because Spider-Man died in the comic book version and doesn't mean that the same thing would have to be true in the movie universe. Who says that Spider-Man and Miles Morales can't exist in the same Marvel Cinematic Universe? Instead of being motivated by the death of Spider-Man, Miles Morales is motivated by the near death of Spider-Man, and Miles, being someone who could have done something about it, is then inspired to go out and fight for Peter. Peter then comes out of it and he is Spider-Man, and Miles is Spider-Boy or something like that. And then he can get either his own movies, his own spin-off movie, which would be cool if they did the 12-year-old Miles Morales, or he can get a spin-off TV series. But anyways, this is some of my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Floopity doopity doo.